Hello, hello. Greetings once again. Thank you for joining me for yet another edition of Electric Avenue's YouTube updates. I got to start saying that different ways. It's getting kind of boring, isn't it? Hey, thanks guys for checking in and seeing what's going on in the shop this week. I know a lot of you have been out on vacation, Memorial Day. It's sort of crickets at times, which is interesting because they're releasing all this stuff. And so I guess what that's saying is when you come back in the next week or so, you're going to have all this stuff to choose from, which is awesome. And they're doing it again around 4th of July with some stuff. 4th of July this year is a Friday, and they're releasing a bunch of stuff that day. And I'm going to be closed that day. So it'll have to be, you'll have to pick it up after or whatever. But talk to me and we'll work things out. So anyway, that being said, let's get to the new releases for this is the last week of May. We're on May 30th, 2025. And I always start with the big stuff, and I'm going to do a bit of a review sort of early on so that the video doesn't trail on and on and on today, because you want to get out and see the boardwalk or play one of these records maybe. I don't know. All right, so the first thing up this week, like I said, I always do sort of box set-y type things first. And this week we've got a new Grateful Dead box set. Yep, I don't know how many of you knew this was coming out, Dead fans, but this is called The Music Never Stopped. It's a 6 LP set. All right. Lots of glare there. You might have to look this up online. But anyway, it's The Rainbow Full of Sound, featuring 27 previously unreleased live tracks from the Dead's most essential concert venues: Scarlet Begonias, Touch of Grey, Fire on the Mountain, Althea, Truckin', and more. 6 LPs, 180-gram vinyl, limited edition of 6,500. That's not that many. Produced for release by David Lemieux. So there are many recordings on here that have not made it to the other records. So if you're interested, I probably wouldn't wait too long because I don't know how long this is going to be around, but that's a really cool cover. Yeah. So Grateful Dead. It's also available on CD. So if you'd rather not do the vinyl's like $150. So for 6 LPs, that's really not, I don't think that's outrageous or anything. All right, there was another box set type thing this week that I have to mention. Oh, gosh. And, interesting about this, thing about this is that it wasn't really sort of like described as being a box set, but it sure looks like one, and it's only $45, which is not too bad. Sufjan Stevens, Carrie and Lowell. It's the 10th anniversary of this, and it comes in this nice sort of box presentation, and there's extra songs on it. Personally, I think it's Sufjan's best or second best, maybe third best. It's definitely in the top 3 if you're counting things like Illinois and the last one. It was fantastic too. I don't know. He's got many, many great albums. I even love Age of Odds a lot. So this anyway, it says 10th anniversary edition. Pitchfork at the time gave it a 9.3. Well, go Pitchfork. But this features 7 bonus tracks, including new versions of 4th of July and Mystery of Love, and it's indie retail exclusive violet vinyl. So it's kind of a purple cover. The bonus tracks are Death with Dignity demo, Should Have Known Better demo, Eugene demo featuring S. Carey, The Only Thing demo, Mystery of Love demo, Walla Walla Lake Monster version 2, and 4th of July version 4. The thing that's interesting about Mystery of Love being on here was it was not on the original album, and it actually ended up being used in a very famous Oscar-winning movie I'm trying to remember which one it was. Um, but it had some famous actors too. Boy, that sounds really informed, doesn't it? You know, it's been a while since I've watched a movie, and I never saw that movie. So, Call Me by Your Name, I think, is what it was called. Um, yeah. So anyway, had the kid from Chalamet, Timothy Chalamet, was in it. Anyway, Mystery of Love was used in that. So this is the demo version of that, which is cool that he gave us that on this vinyl. And it looks like there's not only the double record, but some kind of big booklet that sort of pulls out of here. So, and Sufjan's always, look at this, always sort of with the deluxe packaging. So, I love his music. I think it's great. All right. I mean, I know it's unique and it's sort of specific. Okay. I don't know what I'm trying. I'm a little loopy today, guys. Usually I do these videos in the morning, and I got to be honest with you. I'm doing it at night today because the shipment came and I was here bright and early to receive the shipment, so it was ready, and then it didn't come until like in the middle of the day. And then I'm just like, trying to get it received, get all the restocks out, go through the new releases, and do this video for you. So this is going to be like a 12-hour day for me anyway. Not like I'm complaining. Of course, these things happen. But all right, so new reissue this week. And this is actually, I'm putting my review at the front of the video today because I absolutely love this album. I'm so glad to see it getting a reissue. Aimee Mann's Lost in Space, the 22nd and a half anniversary edition. You notice, if you remember the original, the font and lettering up here is a little different. She had the original artist, a Canadian cartoonist named Seth, redo some of the artwork here. So some things are slightly different. But this is new retrospective liner notes by Aimee. This is actually not only a splatter vinyl, but it's also a glow in the dark cover. So I suppose if you let it sit out in the light enough and then take it to a dark room, you're going to see the stars come out in the sky here. And so what was I going to say about this album? Well, it was the follow-up. Aimee is the lead singer of the band Till Tuesday from the 80s, and a band out of Boston. They just had a reunion show after 30 years of not playing live at the Darker Waves Festival in Los Angeles. And they did a great job, but everything was sort of like a little bit lower for the keys and everything because, you know, everybody's older and she wants to sing more of in a natural voice now. I would say her voice singing that live sounded more like this album vocally. But anyway, so Till Tuesday sort of ran their course kind of after 3 albums, and the 80s sort of rejected certain bands, and the 90s happened, Nirvana happened, her drummer became her manager, and she went on and did a few solo records in the 90s, and they were pretty well received. They just didn't sell very well. She bounced around a couple different record labels, and eventually in the late 90s, she kind of got a really good gig came along, and a filmmaker wanted to use, I'm forgetting his name now too, wanted to use her music in the movie Magnolia, which starred Tom Cruise. And so she ended up doing most of the songs for the Magnolia soundtrack. They were songs that were kind of, she was working on an album called Bachelor Number 2, and many of those songs ended up in the movie. And eventually, she did actually release a vinyl of that for Record Store Day, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And it featured all of the tracks from both projects together, sort of reorganized. And it was actually a really nice set on green vinyl. Very expensive now. It's around $100 or maybe more online. Anyway, the music from the Magnolia soundtrack was a lot of it was very introspective. Aimee has a very conversational kind of voice, and her melodies, I would say, are sort of inspired by maybe 2 or 3 artists mainly I can think of, which would be the Beatles, Elvis Costello, and Elliott Smith. And that's kind of what you get here. It's not so rocky as like it's the quieter sides of some of those bands and artists. There are definitely some more kind of like mid-tempo sort of songs on here. But this album came out about the time, this is 22nd and a half anniversary, so it would have been about 2002. And around that time, there was the movie Ghost World came out, kind of kicked off the career of Scarlett Johansson, and Thora Birch was the other actress in it, and Steve Buscemi. And it was kind of a movie about like girls who were like sort of teenagers that were kind of looking towards the past for like ways of trying to find themselves through art and their sort of loves. And Buscemi played kind of a quirky individual who loved old retro music. And so anyway, that Aimee's music wasn't necessarily used in that movie, but it kind of seems to infuse this whole like the artwork and the feel of this album with that sort of feeling. In fact, there's I think there's a song that she did around, oh, it was on Bachelor number two, the album before, called Ghost World. So the songs on here kind of go more in that direction where you get really beautiful kind of hard on sleeve songs like This Is How It Goes. Invisible Ink is wonderful. That song uses kind of a like an orchestral backing. And the closing song, It's Not, which is sort of a little bit darker in tone. And then there's songs like Lost in Space that are kind of also sort of about, questioning like, who am I and what's life mean? Real Bad News is another song that's kind of downbeat. I mean, most of these songs are kind of downbeat, soul searching songs, but she kind of has such an intimate way of communicating through them that it really is kind of a very, and the melodies are also so special. I think that's sort of what makes a lot of her best work, the melodies and her use of lyrics. She's very precise about the lyrics that she chooses, and nothing ever comes off as really like hackneyed or thrown together. In fact, I would say like this album is pretty well thought through when it comes down to the writing. And she's got a very special gift for the writing, I think, more than many other artists of the time. And I think this album also has aged really well. It's not necessarily as big of an album as a Sarah McLachlan's, some of hers, or Dido's, or even if you go into like Sheryl Crow or somebody like that. It's more sort of in that kind of Suzanne Vega sort of level and style where, they knew that these albums weren't going to be massive sellers on, like, they weren't going to top the charts, but they were just being very true to who they are as artists, even though those other people did as well. But it was just more of a intimate kind of feeling record, I think. So because it wasn't played everywhere, it kind of has a little bit more of that relatability, and it sticks with you, I think. So anyway, I highly recommend Aimee Mann's Lost in Space if you haven't heard it. It's not for everybody. I say that a lot of the time because it is pretty moody and kind of downbeat, but she does have some special gifts with words and things on here. I should say also Pavlov's Bell and Today's the Day were kind of marked as the singles here. And Humpty Dumpty is a great opener song. But those other two, she actually performed on the show Buffy the Vampire Slayer in season 7. So if you're kind of a Buffy fan, you probably remember that. But Aimee Mann, who's still out there making great records, and I can't wait to hear what she does next. Her last 2 records have been pretty quiet because she had some sort of an auditory disorder, and it was kind of like causing her a lot of headaches and stress. So there are a couple of songs on here, like I said, Invisible Ink and This Is How It Goes, that are kind of quieter songs that are more sort of reflective of what her most recent album was like. So, all right, moving right along. You're like, get to the next record. Okay, Two Bill Evans reissues this week on wonderful OJC label. We've got Interplay and Moonbeams. And these are two of Bill's finest albums. And Moonbeams, let's see, I think both of them were done by Kevin Gray. Yep, Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio. OJC, you got these great tip-on jackets. And if you're a Bill Evans fan, I'm not really sure if you're going to find better sounding versions of these other than if you're paying for stupid money for audiophile records that, I can't say that because I know some people really are into that, but to me, I'd rather have a few more records than spend exorbitant prices on, things like that. But those are very affordable and they sound great. One that I am getting the vinyl tomorrow, so it'll be here for new release day, but right now so far all I have is a CD, is Mount Joy and their new record, Hope We Have Fun. And they're sort of getting bigger all the time. And I think that they're ready to kind of like break pretty big into the scene, although I think they already have quite a following. And, I would say they're sort of a cult band in a way because they aren't some band that everybody knows necessarily. But I was just talking with a friend today who said that he has a friend whose son is in this band, and he started as a lawyer, went to law school, and decided that he wanted to get out. He didn't like what he was doing, and decided to become a guy in a band, and Mount Joy is the band he's in, so that's pretty cool. Another band that I'm really excited about this record, and it's been about 4 years for them. It's the new album from Garbage, featuring Shirley Manson and Butch Vig, the guy that produced that aforementioned Nirvana record. I was kind of saying, Aimee Mann kind of had a hard time around 90 or till Tuesday when bands like that kind of had to succumb to Butch Vig. But here they, both are still out there and touring and making music. But this is the limited edition Pearl Sunrise vinyl version. This album for Garbage is getting really, really high praise already. I have not heard it, but it's there's a song here. It starts, "There's no future in optimism." "Get Out of My Face," "Radical." There's songs that are kind of like reflective of our times, and for the most part, I've heard they're supposed to be sort of optimistic. The last song is called "The Day That I Met God," but the album is called "Let All That We Imagine Be the Light." And it got a 5-star review from the NME, and a lot of people are saying probably their best work since their second album, which was their big commercial breakthrough. So check out the new one from Garbage because it ain't garbage. Okay. I've liked them for a long time, so I'm glad to see them back. All right, new album from Swans. And yes, a new album from Swans. This is called Birthing. It's their third, it's a 3-album set, I should say. And it's their third album in this series that they've kind of been doing recently. The Beggar and Leaving Behind, I think, were the last two. This is sort of the latest iteration of the band. They are saying this might be their last one. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what Michael Gira is saying, and or Gira, and he's not getting any younger. So maybe this is a sort of conscious choice. But 3 LP plus a bonus live DVD and a poster in this for about $45. It says, "The final grand excursion into the land of overwhelming sonics, sustained explosions, sensual dynamics, and echoed dreamscapes. After 40 years plus, a full-force 2-hour exhalation before a new chapter in Swans emerges." And so there's stuff that I think calls back to albums like The Seer, but then there's stuff that's supposed to be more pretty on this. So But yeah, most of the songs are apparently around 15 minutes long. So you're not getting like radio songs here at all. This is like difficult listening for some people, but it is part of a genre and they're very popular in the underground scene still. So, all right. So here I've mentioned Garbage and Swans and Keeping It Dark. Finally on vinyl, the new Peter Murphy album makes it to stores. Silver Shade is the name of it. This is an excellent album. I think it's Peter's best album since Cascade for me, which would be 1995. I mean, 30 years. He sounds great. I don't know if it's because, he had issues and got himself cleaned up or what, but, Youth produced this. The guy from, bassist from Killing Joke. I think he did the last one too, The Lion, and I didn't care for that much. This one is great. And Peter sounds great. There's a guest vocal from Trent Reznor on the title track. And there's also on the very final track, Let the Flowers Grow, which is a kind of a upbeat, sort of anthemic, heartfelt song. It's a duet with Boy George, and they both sound great together. You would not think it. So I recommend going and checking out the new Peter Murphy album. Some of it sounds very Sisters of Mercy, I'm not gonna lie. But the first song, Swoon, is pretty driving. Hot Roy is a little more kind of synthy. And then you get songs like Sherpa. The Art Room Wonder is a really cool song. I mean, this is just a great album. And I mean, the thing that kills me is that his voice sounds unbelievable. He's hitting some notes and things in his voice that I'm like, how are you doing that at your age? I just don't get it. It's like it's like unreal. Anyway, all right, new record from Miley Cyrus. Also kind of coming with a dark edge on this album. This one's called Something Beautiful, and she's definitely doing more of a kind of a rock. And she did a rock album a couple albums back, but it was more sort of a kind of a pop rock record that was inspired by sort of Joan Jett. This one's got like a darker, rockier edge, and it's sort of getting compared to like when she did the Dead Pets album with Flaming Lips, but much better than that, apparently. I mean, I've heard parts of a couple songs and they were good. I'm not a big fan of her vocally, but some people really love her. So go Miley, and I hope you have a success with that. I don't know how much it's going to be a radio album for her. I'm not sure she cares that much, but I know she does like to have hits. All right. She's had a lot of hits. Berninger. Is it Berninger or Berninger? I still am trying to figure that out. It's a long day. Get Sunk. Matt is the lead singer of The National, and this is his album, indie record store exclusive, translucent cobalt vinyl. 10 new songs. I think what I was going to say is this is his new solo album. I think it might be his third. It's at least the second. I know that, but so 10 new songs. If you like The National, you might want to check this out. Produced by Sean O'Brien. There have been a lot of people lately who were in bands that have been sort of either breaking off and doing solo records or, just time to do solo records. I've been noticing that quite a bit. Here's somebody who is releasing sort of a solo record, but it's not really necessarily by choice. Alan Sparhawk, his wife Mimi, passed away a couple years ago, cancer, and very, very young, and it was super tragic, from the band Low. And here you get Alan, his sort of second solo record in the last 12 months. This is actually him with the band Trampled by Turtles. And Trampled by Turtles are like a great sort of alternative band. This is a limited edition, first pressing on colored vinyl from the Loser edition from Sub Pop Records. So it looks like 9 new tracks: Stranger, Too High, Heaven, Not Broken, Screaming Song, Get Still, Princess Road Surgery, Don't Take Your Light, and Torn and in Ashes. I think it sounds pretty much like it's reflective on Mimi's death, I would imagine. So, anyway, I'm not sure. I think they said they were going to be touring this album, but Alan's got a great voice, and I feel for him. It's really tragic and tough when you have a spouse that's ill or dying, and or you lose them. And so he's moving forward. Uh, wish him all the luck in the world. All right. Asop Rock, his new record. It's been a long time for Asop Rock. 3 years, 4 years, I don't know. This one's called Black Hole Superette. And this is Asop is a hip hop artist, and this features songs from Lupe Fiasco, or guest appearances. Lupe Fiasco, Armand Hammer, Hani El Khatib, Open Mike Eagle, and Homeboy Sandman. Includes Black Ice double vinyl and rainbow foil jacket. I don't know if you can see it, but it kind of, there's a little bit of a rainbow effect there when you move it. And so, new Asop Rock. He's been around for a while too. Another band that's been around for a while that was kind of at first like a side project, and now it's sort of become kind of a thing. The -5 and their new album, Or On Penelope. This is the Wine Dark Sea Swirl vinyl. And this is made up of members of REM and other bands from that particular era. This particular album, it's always sort of like a hodgepodge of people, but this one features particularly Linda Pittman, Peter Buck, Scott McCoy, Kurt Bloch, and Debbie Peterson. Peter Buck and Scott McCoy have REM connections. Peter was in it. Scott McCoy, producer for REM. Debbie Peterson, I believe, is the drummer from the Bangles. And it also features Spencer Tweedy, who's Jeff Tweedy's son, plays with Wilco some. Patterson Hood from Drive By Truckers makes an appearance, and Ed Stasium not only is on it playing, but he mixed it as well, and Scott McCoy produced it. So you're kind of getting like 80s jangle rock vibes, sort of, a little alternative. And yeah, so new -5 record. They've got quite a few at this point. This woman, I really liked her debut a few years ago. It was kind of a synth pop record, and then her last one was a little more funky, and she went a little more kind of indie and a little less sort of produced. This album is supposed to be more folky in a way. Shura is her name, and it's called I Got Too Sad for My Friends. It looks like a little bit of a sad indie album, right? And it says the new album by Shura includes the single Recognize, and also has an appearance here from Cassandra Jenkins, who's another sort of indie singer-songwriter. I'll have to hear this. I'm kind of interested in that. So her last record was pretty good, but I did love the first one. Okay, let me sort of move this pile here just a second. Told you guys there's quite a few. All right, I'm excited about these reissues this week. I've been waiting for these for years because they were so expensive online to get an original. Find a new place to sit here. Bryan Ferry, Olympia. And this is, if you can't tell, Kate Moss. Me with Kate Moss. Probably the only time that Kate Moss and I will be on a video together. Upside down here. This was Bryan's solo record from 2010. It's a great album. If you like his sort of bête noir and that kind of Mamuna, that sort of more, what do I want to say, cosmopolitan side of Bryan, and his crooning. It begins with the song You Can Dance, which is kind of as dance a song as Bryan Ferry usually has. It's just got kind of a slow, slinky beat to it. Alphaville's a great song. Me Oh My, Heartache by Numbers. Shameless is a great song. Excuse me. Something in my voice. Also features here his cover of Song to the Siren, the Tim Buckley song that was covered by Cocteau Twins with This Mortal Coil. So it's a little bit more of a funky, not funky, but it's got more instrumentation than that Cocteau version. But yeah, really am happy that's coming out. And the other one that Bryan's putting out this week is As Time Goes By, which is his more kind of 20s, 30s retro type singer-songwriter, sort of great show tune type albums, or Great American Songbook is what I'm trying to say here. So it's a limited edition honey gold vinyl. This is on red vinyl, I should also say. And this includes the single As Time Goes By. I don't think anything from this was necessarily going to be on the charts or on the radio. It's definitely more of a quirky album. He does songs like The Way You Look Tonight, I'm in the Mood for Love, When Somebody Thinks You're Wonderful, Miss Otis Regrets, Falling in Love Again, You Do Something to Me, Just One of Those Things, September Song. I mean, there's more than that, but this is sort of like a Sinatra type album, like very studio, kind of swanky and like old-timey sounding. So you get two really different sides of Bryan Ferry this week. And this one came out 1999. So this one's actually 10 years older than this one, but I recommend them both. If you're a Bryan fan, you need them both. All right, and another great reissue, finally getting a repressing here. Again, Crowded House with their self-titled debut, featuring that song that won't go away, Don't Dream It's Over. It's funny how many people consider Crowded House to be a one-hit wonder, and I suppose in the US they sort of were, but they had several hits in the UK, and this album is really more of a two-hit wonder because it also had Something So Strong, which was a pretty big hit. And I really liked this album. I thought it was a good debut for them. World Where You Live was another single that was pretty good. So I really had three kind of hits on here, but obviously the one was huge, as it happens sometimes, right? Unfortunately, we lost Paul Hester. Yeah, their drummer died, committed suicide quite a while ago. But he's sort of immortalized on this cover as the spirit that hangs over them. So it's really interesting how that happened. But great album. I recommend that. Okay. If you look at this cover, you might not have any idea what this is. It's a butterfly. Do some of you know what this is? It doesn't tell you. It says 10-year anniversary exclusive vinyl color. This is Kendrick Lamar to Pimpa Butterfly. This is the special edition of it, the 10th anniversary. And yeah, so Kendrick Lamar, it's going to be hard to tell what it is, but that's what this is. So if you look at the back and look at the song titles and you know the album, you'll know what it is. So special edition. I really love this album, and I discovered it only like, maybe 10 years ago. Mott the Hoople's Mott. More people need to know this album. More people need to know Ian Hunter. There are many versions of this album. Visually, the other one that you see the most in America is a picture of the band. But this was the original cover in Europe, and of course, like America, they're like, hey, people want to see picture of the band, man. So they changed it, but this is very cool. This is a 1,000 individually numbered copies on pink colored vinyl, featuring the song All the Way from Memphis. Great song. I also love Honolulu Boogie is great. I'm a Cadillac is awesome. I Wish I Was Your Mother is great. Violence is great. Hymn for the Dudes. I mean, these are the guys that did all the young dudes. And that's not on this album. That was on the previous album. But this does feature Paul Buckmaster on lots of strings, who is a great arranger, and Andy McKay from Roxy Music, Bryan Ferry's band, on saxophones. And yeah, arranged by Ian Hunter. This came out, I think, yeah, 73 was the original date. So there you go. All right, Mad Season. This is the uh, Alice in Chains spin-off. This is a very, very limited indie pressing. They only made 3,000, and we've only got a couple of them. It is on Graphite Eco Mix vinyl. It's the 30th anniversary, done by Vinyl Voice. It does feature Lane Staley, Mike McCready, Barrett Martin, and Baker are the artists. And there's a regular version of this, a couple of them that have been out for a while. One is on Columbia, one is on Music on Vinyl. And anyway, Mad Season. R.I.P. Lane Staley. Let's see. This is kind of an interesting record, and I'm kind of curious to hear this. Grace Potter and an album called Medicine. So Grace recorded this album many, many years ago, 12 sonic compounds of highest purity. And this was actually originally recorded, I want to say, like 15 or 20 years ago. And it was produced by T-Bone Burnett. And it never got released, apparently. So you get 12 unheard Grace Potter songs working with T-Bone Burnett, one of the greatest Americana producers out there. So I think that's pretty cool. I got to hear it. I'm curious, excited. There's a couple of Emerson, Lake and Palmer reissues. This one is Pictures at an Exhibition. And the other one is Brain Salad Surgery. And it doesn't have the fold open cover, I would say. But, you know, they both probably sound really great because they've been repressed. Let's see, done by Sanctuary, I think. BMG. Some brand new pressings of those. I'm sorry this is taking a longer time than I thought. Haken and their new live record, Live Forms, Fauna Live in London, and sort of a prog metal type group. This is live in London 2024, and you kind of get the band with the chimp in the background. And if you're into sort of dream theater type stuff, that might be up your alley. Rain Parade and their new reissue, Crashing Dream Deluxe. It says Record Store Day, April 12th. This was supposed to be out on Record Store Day, and something happened. It didn't get made in time. This is the limited edition first pressing, 2 LP set with demos and live tracks on blue and transparent blue vinyl. All right, Rain Parade were sort of like the jangle sort of dream pop of the 80s, late 80s. Let's see, when was this originally out? It doesn't tell me, of course. But this has a bunch of demos and things on the second record, live BBC stuff. Rain Parade, if you're interested in sort of like the kind of janglier or dreamier side of bands like REM and stuff like that. One of my favorite duos of all time, and everyone who knows me knows it, Pet Shop Boys, and a greatest hits double album from them called Disography. Now this really only covers the first 6 years of their career, but it was the 6 most big selling years, especially in America. So it's a double record. This is a transparent blue vinyl edition, and it features West End Girls, the big hit that everybody sort of knows them for as a number 1 worldwide hit. Also features What Have I Done to Deserve This, their song with Dusty Springfield. It's a Sin was a big hit. Their cover of Always on My Mind was a big hit. Opportunities was big. Domino Dancing was big. Those were all the sort of big hits in America. And it ends with two new songs from the time, DJ Culture and Was It Worth It? And after this, they kind of changed and sort of started doing things that were more, even more pop, and kind of have gone on since then. They're still making records. I think they just released their 13th or 14th album. So they've been playing now music for, this will be the 40th year that since West End Girls came out. So hard to believe, 40 years, my God. That song is still pretty popular. Suede, one of my favorite British bands of the 90s, and this is their Sci-Fi Lullabies collection. This is the 3 LP edition of Half Speed Mastered, all the B-sides from that era. And I gotta tell you, if you're not familiar with Suede, or maybe you like them but you haven't heard the B-sides, you need to hear the B-sides because they're as good or better than some of the songs from their albums. They're kind of like Oasis that way. The lead singer has a little bit more of a kind of quirky voice than you'll hear on an Oasis record, but incredible songwriting. The iconic 1997 B-Sides collection, 3 LPs, includes My Insatiable One, Killing of a Flash Boy, To the Birds, He's Dead, and My Dark Star. Brand new mastering at Air Mastering. So, all right, and black vinyl. Getting close to the end, guys. Bob Marley, Treat Me Right. New Bob Marley collection. This is transparent yellow vinyl. Includes the hits Bend Down Low, Don't Rock My Boat, Chances Are. It's kind of an interesting cover. Blends his face and the lion. Let's see. Clap Your Hands, Say Yeah with their album Hysterical. This was an album that came out in like 2010, produced by John Congleton and featured Mike Garson of David Bowie's band on piano. Clap Your Hands, Say Yeah is a Philly band. They're sort of along the lines of like LCD Sound System or The Rapture. A little bit more rocky maybe, I suppose. But all right, now this band, if you don't know who this is, you should probably go look them up. If you're into things like Tom Tom Club, Talking Heads, New York punk scene, whatever, ESG. It's three women. I believe they were sisters. I don't remember, but this is one of their most iconic records, Keep On Moving. And they sort of were the ones that sort of kind of kickstarted that whole sound of that downtown New York kind of vibe. Yeah, and they're African-American girls. And this says, if there's one tune which sums up their enduring lust for life, it's the beautifully judged Black Flag early techno crossover of the closing Gimme a Blast, says The Guardian. This album's every percussive aspect has been honed to impart the maximum amount of pleasure from the observer, and an astonishingly primal album, says Uncut. Limited neon orange vinyl edition. So check out ESG if you haven't. ESG. And this one's Keep On Moving. A rapper that has sort of appropriated a Cramps cover. This is MC Homeless with his album Stay Slick. And he kind of does a lot of stuff with Kool Keith. And I just thought the album cover is so great, hilarious, cool. And this is sort of like kind of alternative rap stuff. Does have Fishbone guest star on it and Mickey Avalon. So anyway, there's that. And a couple of jazz things to round it out. Charlie Mingus, Live in Paris, 1964. Volume 1, this is Culture Factory. This is on translucent red vinyl. Features Peggy's Blues Skylight, Orange Was a Color, Meditation and Sophisticated Lady. And Max Roach again. And this is on green and white vinyl, opaque. This is vinyl has been out of print and unavailable. Who knew? A pioneer of bebop drumming, Max Roach, double vinyl, Culture Factory. All right, thanks. Oh, before I leave, a couple of CDs. JPEG Mafia, deluxe edition of his recent album. Melody, Wow and Flutter. This is live stuff from Melody. And also, I'm sorry, it's a lot of rarities too. Outtakes. And The Fall. Singles. 78 to 81 live. All right. This is coming on vinyl tomorrow too. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. I'm losing my voice. I'm getting stuffed up. Having an allergy attack. Gotta get out of here. All right. Peace. I gotta put the new releases out. Have a great weekend. Hope to see ya. Take care. Bye.